The strongest evidence that the Celtic Lleu/Lleu is equal to Vedic Mitra comes from an understanding of the deep structures of Indo-European myth. As shown previously, Lleu is in the same structural position as Mitra in the causal descent from the sunrise god Savitar. In Vedic myth, this descent is Savitar to Pushan to Mitra. In Welsh, it is Math to Gwydion to Lleu. This alignment already implies Lleu to be Mitra, the god of morning sky, whose birth follows as an effect just after the myth of the sunrise. In Mitra Varuna, Georges Dumézil explains how the Varunian and Mitraic gods are paired sovereigns. In this pairing, the Varunian god is sovereign of the beginning of the year or the cycle, of the sky during night, this being the time of beginning, analogized to the winter, and he is also the lord of waters. The Mitraic god is the sovereign of the second half of the year or cycle, the daytime of the cycle, which culminates with autumn, when he brings stability via final victory. Thus he is god of morning and the daylit sky, which follows after night. Because he only rules the day, the second half of the cycle, this makes him the late arriving sovereign, as we see with Lleu. Crucially, he is not present from the beginning, but instead all powers culminate in him, making him the all-skilled final ruler. This Varuna-Mitra pairing is seen in Nuada and Lleu, the kings of the Tuatha De Danann. Nuada is the water-associated, see Nodens, king of the Tuatha De Danann, upon their arrival, and leads them in the first battle of Moytura. Thus he is the sovereign of the beginning of the cycle. Bress rules in an interstitial period after Nuada, but is deposed. This period is summer, Bress being the sun god. Lleu then is the late arriving god who leads the Tuatha De Danann in the second battle of Moytura, overcomes Bress, takes over the kingship, and achieves final victory and peace. The battle is said to occur on Samhain, a date which marks the end of the year and the cycle generally. Lleu's festival is Lunasa, which marks the ascension and defeat of Crom Cruach. This early August festival marks the end of summer and the beginning of autumn, perfectly fitting for a Mitraic god. In the Welsh version, the House of Dawn culminates in Lleu, as we have said, and his victory over the sun god Gronw is the final event of the four branches of the Mabinogi. The Mitraic god, or an incarnation of this god, always is the one who throws his spear to defeat the final opponent and end the great war. Lleu at Balor, Lleu at Gronw, Menelaus at Deiphobus, Yudhishthira at Shalya. The myth of Lleu closely matches the story of Menelaus from the Iliad, the brothers Agamemnon and Menelaus being incarnations who preserve archaic myths of the Varunian and Mitraic type gods. Gronw Peber, the Radiant, comes to Lleu's kingdom while Lleu is visiting his maternal great-uncle Math Fab Mathonwy. Paris, of astonishing beauty, comes to Menelaus' kingdom while Menelaus is about to leave for the funeral of his maternal grandfather Catreus. Gronw is there on a hunting expedition. Paris is there on a pretended diplomatic expedition. Lleu's wife, Blodeuwedd, commits adultery and conspires with Gronw. Paris conspires with the goddess Aphrodite in order to adulterously steal Menelaus' wife, Helen. Lleu marshals all of his kingdom and crosses the river Cynfal to pursue Gronw and Blodeuwedd. Menelaus marshals all of the allied kingdoms and crosses the Aegean Sea to pursue Paris and Helen. Lleu is under a magical protection against death, a tungid, which is a kind of spoken fate pronounced over him. Menelaus is under a prophecy that the gods will not allow him to die yet and will take him to Elysium at the end of his life, which Athena ensures, as well as being protected by a sacred truce. Note, in the Iliad, the duel and the wounding scenes are switched in order compared to the Welsh version. Lleu guides Granu in how to throw the spear to kill Lleu. Athena guides Pandarus to shoot the arrow at Menelaus. Lleu is struck in his side by the spear, breaking the magical tungid, undergoes a symbolic death, and is revived by his implied father and god of magical illusion and intellect, Gwydion. Menelaus is struck in the abdomen, the belt region, by the arrow, breaking the standing truce, and is aided by his older brother Agamemnon, and protected from death by a goddess of magical illusion and intellect, Athena. Lleu has to be healed of this wound by physicians. Menelaus is healed of this wound by the physician Machaon. Lleu's great-uncle Math then discusses revenge with Lleu. Truly, said Math, he will never be able to maintain himself in the possession of that which is thy right. Menelaus' older brother Agamemnon then discusses revenge with Menelaus. The oath breakers will pay with their lives, and their wives and children too. Holy Troy will be razed in time. When Lleu comes to confront him, Granu in fear begs his attendants to stand in for him and receive the blow. When Paris and Menelaus arrive at the duel, it is said that Paris first becomes sick at heart and then shrank back in the ranks. Lleu and Granu finally face off in a formal confrontation in order to put their dispute to rest. Lleu throws his spear through a slab of stone that Granu hides behind, killing him. Menelaus and Paris finally face off in a formal duel in order to put their dispute to rest. Menelaus throws his spear through Paris' shield, and Paris has to be rescued by Aphrodite before he is killed. Gwydion is merciful in not killing Lleu, but curses her instead. When Menelaus confronts Helen later, he shows her mercy and kills her second foreign husband, Deiphobus, who equals Balor. In the Irenic Avesta, Mithra catches the evil or lying man with his long arms, no matter where he goes. Avesta Mir Yasht 104. While Lleu is prominently called Lawful, of the long arm. This then implies the long arm of the law, and Lleu demonstrates his role of enforcer of the law when he deals out harsh justice to the sons of Turin, or when Lleu deals the equivalent to Granu. This trait is why Dumezil called Mitra the lawful sovereign, as is stated of the Mitraic incarnation Yudhishthira in the Mahabharata. When I think of his wrath, O Sanjaya, and consider how just it is, I am filled with alarm. Lleu's name either derives from Lugio / Lugion, meaning oath, or Lleu, meaning light, either one having strong resonances with Mitra, the sovereign of the daylit sky, who is the embodiment of the contract. Mitra is the only Vedic god described by the verb yatayati, meaning to join, to unite, to cause to fight, to cause to be returned, to requite, to reward or punish, from yat, meaning to keep peace, to marshal, to animate, to impel men to exertion. Of the Mitra type incarnation Menelaus, it is said, "And himself he moved among them, confident in his zeal, urging his men to battle, and above all others was his heart fain to get him requital, for his strivings and groanings for Helen's sake." Homer, Iliad 2.585. Lleu likewise is the one depicted urging his men to fight, in nearly the same words. Lleu was urging the men of Ireland to fight the battle fiercely. Ca Moitura 129. Lleu is also protected by his men in the early part of the battle, just as Yudhishthira, the incarnation of Mitra, is treated in the Kurukshetra war. Lleu is said to be the originator of assemblies in Ireland. Vedic Mitra is called the chief of assemblies among chiefs of assemblies. Also, quote, according to the Dinshenahas, it was at a great peacemaking assembly held there that the death of Lleu was encompassed by the 3 grandsons of the Dagda. Rhys and Rhys, page 158. While Menelaus' wounding, symbolic death, happens during the great peace treaty of the war. Lleu's fiery spear may be a sort of lightning weapon, while Iranic Mithra also wields the lightning weapon, the Vajra, and Roman Dies Fidius has the similar Fulmen. A lightning weapon is by no means the sole property of the Thunderer in Indo-European myth, as several other Vedic instances show, Rudra, Varuna, etc. The mythic framework of the Mitraic god type also matches the framework of the Roman Mithraic mysteries, the sovereign of the daylit sky overcoming the rival sun god to become the victoriously perfected solar sovereign, equals Sol Invictus. Lleu is easily confused with many other god types due to the fact that he is the many-skilled god. But this overlapping quality is actually fundamental Mitraic theology. The entire divine cycle flows into the Mitraic god. He is the culmination, the all-god who rules the second half. When the Mitra and Varuna types are properly understood, it is difficult to see how Lleu's powerful Mitraic character could be missed any longer. My book, Taliesin's Map, The Comparative Guide to Celtic Mythology, is available from Amazon.